Jill, the owner of Marketplace.tf and Scrap.tf, has allegedly done some more really scummy things. Now, if you aren't already aware of the video I created documenting the child grooming ring and Scrap.tf, I'd highly recommend you go watch that, as it is extremely informative. Also, we have some great news. According to public record, police were successful in their attempt of obtaining a search warrant against the co-owner of Scrap.tf, Jesse Cardone. As far as that goes, I do not have any further updates, but once I find out more, I will make a community post, so make sure you subscribe to keep updated on that. This video is not made at all with any intentions of hating or slandering Marketplace.tf and Scrap.tf. This video is simply made for educational purposes, so you know Manco.store's side of the story. Please don't go and witch hunt any of the people involved in this video. This video is here rather for them to see their own mistakes, and to put their horrible actions into the public eye. On December the 15th, popular trading site Manco.store posted a blog titled "What Really Happened?" #OurStory. In this video, I'll be simply reading out what they wrote on the blog, and letting you make up your own mind for what you think on this whole problem. I would like to hear all your opinions in the comments below, so please comment below what you think. Our story of what actually happened. #Jill's contradiction. Alright, where do we start? This is going to be a long story. However, we do think it's needed because we've kept our mouths shut for way too long about this. I've always told our team not to get into discussion with anyone about what they're saying about us, but instead use that time to invest in helping our people in our community. We might make some people upset by telling you this, however, we don't want to keep our story for ourselves anymore, and we think everybody deserves to know the truth. Our little trading journey. This story starts way back in time, back in late 2012, where I, Sexy Sparta, was playing TF2 with friends of my class. I liked the game very much, however, every time I was playing TF2 there were players who had nice unusual hats and looked really cool. I liked those hats, but no one was willing to trade it for me. I literally had no items, besides, I didn't even have premium. So that was when I bought my first $5 credits towards a premium TF2 account, and with it, the ability to trade. I started trading, and by trading I mean I started trading a lot. Trading actually more than I even played the game. I'm sure some can relate. One day I had enough items to trade up for an unusual hat. I remember, it was like a stout shaco with orbiting planets. It was ugly, but I was like, yes, I have an unusual. I kept trading because I liked it. And at some point, I found out about Backpack.tf, the site where you could find all the community suggested prices of items. I found other profiles with big backpacks, who were using self-made automated bots, which were trading day in, day out. That's when my brother came in. I asked him to make some automated bot who would trade for me, just like the other big guys in the trading community. At that time, the Steam community market launched buy orders as well, which we found very useful as we were checking for deals on the Steam market. Since then, every day I launched the computer and made buy orders on every profitable item I could find. This was going on for years, until we had actually made a big backpack, which actually got us the #1 TF2 backpack, with a value of around $130,000. We were cashing out through Marketplace.tf, and or reinvesting it in more items. How much should we spend of our own money on TF2? Just $5, and a shitload of time. Would we be better off working a job for all these hours? Probably in terms of money. However, it was very fun, and I've always liked it. Oh, and about the #1 backpack, there was actually someone else who had it, however his backpack was private at the time, which turned out us as showing as the #1 spot on Backpack.tf. At that time, somewhere late 2016 to early 2017, we were contacted by this guy called Peanut Hero. He told us that he'd been working on a site and was searching for a co-owner/investor of the site. I discussed this with my brother, as we didn't know the guy at all, and had to invest quite a lot of items into the site. We were looking at the designs and development of the site and we're like, yeah, we can take this risk. If we don't, we might regret it. This led to Manco.trade launching somewhere around half/late 2017, and us investing a lot of items into the site. It was at that point that we were also having 10,000 plus Backpack.tf automated listings, which gave us a lot of backpack growth every single day. However, since Manco.trade was growing a little, we're kind of attacked by the competitor Jill, or more so, Peanut Hero was. Jill tried to get us out of Manco.trade by telling us how bad Peanut Hero was. The first thing Jill said was Peanut Hero is running a gambling site as well, which is called Manco.jackpot, and that we shouldn't work with him. Agreeing in our reply the gambling site shouldn't be there, especially not with all these kids playing, we told Peanut Hero to stop the gambling site if he wanted to go on with Manco.trade. Not much later, the gambling site was gone, and we'll continue with Manco.trade, helping people get the items they want instantly, 24 hours a day. However, our competitor didn't like our growth and wanted us to fail. Peanut Hero got SteamRep and Backpack.tf banned for being linked to an old account which was linked to a scammer. Even SteamRep and Backpack.tf admins admitted. We made a report to SteamRep that Peanut Hero wasn't a scammer. However, they didn't lift the ban. Even Back.tf moderator and SteamRep admin, Teeny Tiny Cat, admitted that Peanut Hero wasn't a scammer. However, the SteamRep ban wasn't being lifted. This, to say the least, the weirdest and most contradicting thing I've seen. This caused some people to not want to use Manco.trade because it was run by a scammer, which was totally out of context. A great way for the already well-established competitor to use connections against competition. Through all of that, Manco.trade was still growing. However, we weren't satisfied with the ways things were going. We were cashing out profits from Manco.trade on Marketplace.tf, which was funny enough as we were not being blocked by Jill, even though Peanut Hero was banned on SteamRep. Probably because I, Sexy Sparta, had several thousands of buy orders both on Backpack.tf and Marketplace.tf, which is still a business for Jill. Not to mention, we're actively advertising Marketplace.tf by selling our stuff there and making videos about it. I also mentioned bugs every now and then. And with the start of buy orders on Marketplace.tf, Jill contacted me personally to ask if everything was fine with the buy order system. At that point, I had over 10,000 buy orders, which were manually made. Yes, I know, I had no life at the time. Business was good, for $12,000 of sale per month, which were reinvested in unusuals, meaning that Jill was earning $2,400 per month from me alone, not mentioning the Manco.trade sales and advertising at all. We at this point had no other choice but to move on from the service. More false bans followed. It felt like Jill was stepping on our growth as a competitor, and yet on the other hand, allowing us to give him a percent of our profits. Once I was banned on Marketplace.tf for buying an unusual from a scammer which showed up on the Backpack.tf history, but that unusual was bought from Marketplace.tf itself using a buy order. The false ban was lifted, but Jill said he couldn't bring back all the buy orders, over 10,000 buy orders by the way, that I had made on top of that, and he said that he didn't think he had made them by hand. Well, actually, Sexy Sparta spent the last 2 weeks of his vacation creating all those buy orders. I could do the exact same thing again, which would be worth it, but being treated like this, I chose not to. Not to mention that Scrap.tf, another one of Jill's sites, was buying hundreds of thousands of items from scammers automatic. We, of course, have video proof of those histories, and it shows how contradictory Jill can be, banning people for something he does himself at a much larger scale. Scammers were selling their items through Marketplace.tf and Scrap.tf at a large scale. Jill himself had several gambling sites running earlier on. At some point, we were apparently growing too much though. Our Manco.trade cash out account on Marketplace.tf was banned for the reason of too much risk for Marketplace.tf to have you as a seller, or something along the lines of that. Not much later, Sexy Sparta's account was also banned on Marketplace.tf for helping a scammer liquidate goods through Marketplace.tf. Totally a bold move from Jill, because he knew Peanut Hero wasn't a scammer, and he knew we've been very good for the growth of Marketplace.tf. The only thing he wanted is to block Manco.trade from existence. At that point, we had no place to cash out anymore, and anything we tried to tell him to fix the situation was being swiped away. In Discord servers, there was a common rumor that Manco.trade was run by scammers, which was totally not true and totally out of context. The only thing that's true is that the bans applied on us were false bans to try to wipe out any competition. We kept focusing on our own community. This wasn't just a small thing. Because of the reputation of Backpack.tf and Marketplace.tf, people were instantly believing anything they said about us. I kept telling my team, don't get into discussions, let's focus on ourselves and on our site, and people will eventually see that we are reputed and willing to do anything to help our community. Peanut Hero had to move aside to bring back our reputation, and that's when Alex came in. Because at the time, somewhere early in 2018, that we decided to create our own marketplace. We called it Manco.store, and we made commissions of 5%. Jill was instantly talking bad about it on Discord and Reddit, saying that the fees are higher as they're a buy-if. Also totally not true. If you're a reinvestor, every single transaction you make is 5%, even with reinvesting. Where no buy-if fees are taken, the 10% from Marketplace.tf was on every single transaction, which is even though no buy-if fees, always more expensive. Not to mention that Manco.store had way cheaper items because the fees were lower. However, As Jill is a reputable man in the TF2 community, the majority was still believing him and his magical words, which kept the bad talks going on about Manco.store and Manco.trade, even though our percentages were better. Because of the bad talks in Discord servers about Manco.trade and its owners, the same thing happened for Manco.store. Funny enough, some people were talking bad about Manco.store who were also using it because they noticed Manco.store was actually cheaper. However, some people heard these conversations and spread the word around without even checking the facts. The bans applied with their reasons were enough for some of the people to believe everything, but what they didn't know that it was the complete opposite. Especially in Backpack.tf's Discord, it became some sort of witch hunt totally out of context. I have a conversation still between me and Backpack.tf moderator called Zeus Jr., a former moderator of Manco.trade Discord, who was told by Back.tf that he should stop working for Manco.trade or he can't work for Backpack.tf anymore. He told me that he wasn't going against Manco.trade or Manco.store, but he was amazed how Manco.trade was growing, and he got a little bit jealous about that, such as many other people were talking about Manco.trade and Manco.store in the Discord. Not much later, Manco.store was live and some individual found a way to exploit it and had taken a lot of items, not just from us but from our users. We've talked about it in an earlier blog post you can find here. We've updated our security to maximum since then and have paid back all the people that lost the items in real cash. We found the accounts the items were going to, and I messaged Jill to watch out for exploits and possibilities to ban these accounts. He asked for proof, while it was obvious as these accounts were filled with $10,000 worth of items, all from Manco.store. Besides, he asked me to take off a copyrighted asset which was on Manco.trade, which I wasn't aware of. We of course took it down as he was right on that part. He told me he assumed someone hijacked an admin's Steam account, which wasn't the case. However, then on their Discord, people were talking that an admin of Manco.store had taken all the items, and so Manco.store shouldn't be trusted. Totally out of context and again not true. As well, we've paid back all the users that had lost their items, so there was no trust issues at all. Since then, we've tried to make Manco.store bigger and bigger. It made no profit because we're only having 5% fees, which are just enough to cover the costs of it being online, advertising, and chargebacks. However, we believe that if we keep up and make our community bigger and bigger, it'll have good potential in the future and eventually make profit. More false accusations followed. We kept focusing on our community, and we were trying to keep the trash that was being spread about us out of our minds, such as Jill saying we DDoSed sites such as Backpack.tf and Marketplace.tf. We're actually using Backpack.tf, which we need for the pricing, so why would we? Besides, we got DDoSed at the same times. Jill banning Alex for being a scammer on Backpack.tf without stating any proof. Jill banning Sexy Spider on Backpack.tf for the most stupid reason of this user has repetitively deceived our staff about the identity of another user, an individual who's previously banned for circumventing our API terms of service and launching DDoS attacks on Backpack.tf. I say eventually because it was changed several times in a day, from engaging in fraud to engaging in fraud and attacks on the site to what it is at this point of time. Besides, all Manco.store and Manco.trade containing names are hidden on Backpack.tf and the Discords. I've tried to appeal the ban, but at the bottom line of conversation between me and their staff was that I know I'm wrong and they don't have to send me any proof because they already know that I know. Do you get it? So, we decided we just have to live with it and make the best out of it. We're thinking that investing in our own community will eventually get us ahead. Another thing worth mentioning that recently came out is that Jesse, co-owner of Scrap.tf and Marketplace.tf, has asked minors for sexual material of themselves. For the ins and outs about it, you can watch my video, which will be in the end card of this video. Why is this worth mentioning? Because the way they're trying to get the news out of the publicity is the way they're working, talking bad about others and trying their best to ban out the competition. Now that Marketplace.tf quits for the majority of people, Jill is saying that he may need to warn people about other sites out there. We think it's time to share our opinion, as we have kept our mouth shut for a long time. If you're one of those people who are out there saying Manco.store is a sketchy site with scammers as owners, we hope that you can reconsider and actually check the facts. This is our story. We could bring out our story much earlier, but who would have believed us? What would it help? Would we be banned even more? Given that we now think that it doesn't even matter anymore, because we can't be banned any more than we already are on the competitive sites. It's time to bring out our story for once and for all, clear out any misconceptions about what actually happened. Do we all make mistakes sometimes? Yes we do, but the more important thing is, what do you do next? Okay guys, that was it for the blog post. Let me know what you think about this whole situation in the comments below. Personally, I'm not surprised about all this happening, especially with the past of Scrap.tf and their staff team. It's actually quite hideous that these people have such a place in the TF2 community, and I have no doubt that there will be people who just blindly follow them and everything they say. Please guys, do your own research, look into this a bit more. There is a whole lot that they're trying to hide from you, which is only a few clicks away. Please click on the video on screen right now and watch it thoroughly. It is very important and I highly advise you all check it out. See you guys.